Looking for a great place to purchase Dragon Ball Super product? Look no further than Pro Play Games. They carry a wide array of singles and sealed product at amazing prices. Go to www.pro-playgames.com today.
Welcome to the Mafuba Jar, where we have sealed you away for another video. Today, we are going to be focusing on a deck profile, and this is my Vegito deck. So this is actually a very unique build. It's actually something that is more built off of preference of playstyle more than anything. It's definitely something that you probably will not see anywhere else. But this particular Vegito is one that I really like. I don't know. For me, it's a fun deck to play. It's never really super competitive anymore, but it is a lot of fun to play, and the way that I built it makes it really interesting, even if it's not necessarily like a top tier kind of deck. So let's take a look first at Vegito itself. So Vegito here says on the front side of it, the permanent is that each Son Goku and Vegeta in all of your areas gain red, blue, and green colors. So this is a tri-color deck essentially. It provides every type of color, blue, red, and green. The auto says when this card attacks, place up to one card from the top of your deck in the drop area. If that card is red, this card gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. And that means that you can do up to one, meaning you don't have to do it, but most of the time you're gonna want to do it because once you do awaken, and you don't necessarily want to awaken at 4 if you can help it because of that milling ability. The other side says each Son Goku and Vegeta in all of your areas, of course, still gain red, blue, and green, but the auto on this one says when this card attacks, draw one card, and if there are 10 or more total Son Goku or Vegeta in your drop area, this card gains 5,000 power plus double strike for the duration of the turn. So that turns us into a 20,000 power leader and double strike. So you really want to mill as many Goku and Vegeta as you can before you actually awaken. So this is a very interesting deck. Like I said, it's a lot of fun to play. I wouldn't say that it's super competitive, but we're still going to have fun with it. So I'm going to start off first with the basics of the deck. More of like the staples that you would see in a deck like this. So first and foremost, we have 4 copies of Whis' Coercion. It's our negate, so that will be what we use to block attacks when we want to. Of course, it just costs 1 energy to tap, and then you untap the energy once you use the card. So we got 4 of those. I'm actually gonna move that Vegito leader card out of the way so we can make some room here. For energy acceleration, we've got 3 copies of Objection. Choose up to 1 card from your hand, and then you add it to your energy. Costs 2 to do so, so tap 2, add 1. Helps to really get things going for the deck because you'll see that you definitely want to have your energy ready as fast as you can. All right, next up, we got 2 copies of Senzu Bean. Choose up to 1 of your cards. It gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. Then choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to the active mode. So essentially, you're paying 1, and then you get that one back plus 1 more. So Senzu Bean is really, really good for that. We also play 2 copies of the channel names Inspiration, Mafuba. Now this is going to be a counter for battle cards. You negate the attack of a battle card and place this card on top of the attacking card. At the end of the opponent's next turn, place this card and only this card into the drop area. As long as this card is stacked on top of another card, that card is treated as it is not treated as a battle card, and its skill cannot be activated at all. So Mafuba really just puts a stop on battle cards. Big threats can be stopped with Mafuba as well. And it's cool because you basically get to block them out of attacking or using any of their abilities for that card for 2 total turns, because you're doing it on their turn and on their next turn. Going back into your turn is when they finally get to get rid of Mafuba, so it's really good. We have a card here that we want to use strictly for comboing, and that is Divine Aid Vados, which says when you combo with this card, if your leader card is red, which Vegito is red, and you have 4 life or less, draw 1 card and add 10,000 power to this card's combo for the duration of the turn. And it's going to be for free because it says 0 right there. So you're getting a free 10,000 combo and a draw if you have 4 or less life. Which is essentially, there's always a card in each typing that has this. Like for blue, it's going to be Boost Attack Piccolo. So just to give you guys an idea, we've seen this card before with the Trunks deck that we profiled as well. All right, now we're going to go on to our battle cards. So let me just get these out of the way. These are all of our extra cards. And of course, you know, Divine Aid Vados is a battle card, but we don't really play it as a battle card. It's more of just a combo purpose. There's something underneath my mat here, and I don't know what it is. It's kind of annoying me. All right, so we have 4 copies of Kind Saiyan Son Goku. This is our 1-drop for the deck. When you play this card, look up the top 7 of your deck, choose up to 1 blue Son Goku among them, and add it to your hand. Remember, everything in here is red, blue, and green, so no matter what, you're pretty much getting any kind of Goku card you want out of this deck. So there's the 1-drop Kind Saiyan Son Goku. Next up, we have 4 copies of Bundle of Curiosities Son Goku. The auto on this card is when you play it, you draw a card. It just costs 2 energy to play this card in the first place. And it does have 10,000 power, so it is a little bit more likely to become an attacker at some point. It's still not something that you want to use for the most part, but if you have to, in a pinch, he is a better attacker, of course, than Kind Saiyan Son Goku that's got 5,000, so that's just something to keep in mind. Next up, we have Mighty Attack Son Goku. This card is actually going to be probably your best attacker of the lower energy cost, and that is because it has critical. So when this card inflicts damage to your opponent's life, they place that many cards in their drop area instead of adding them to their hand. Critical is really, really powerful in this game. It really prevents them from getting any cards into their hand if they're running low on a hand size and they need to start drawing stuff. This kind of prevents that by forcing your opponent to put their life straight into their discard pile or their drop area unless they have a way to negate the attack or combo out of it. The next Goku card we have is a 4-drop Relentless Super Saiyan 3 Son Goku. This card has double strike and 20,000 power. The permanent on this is that this card cannot be KO'd by your opponent's skills, which can be very useful. And the auto is when you play this card until the beginning of your next turn, this card gains 5,000 power. So the first time you play this card down, it is 25,000 and double strike. It's pretty powerful, and it can come in handy for sure. All right, now finally, it took us a long time to get these, but we finally do have them. We have 4 copies of the Dash promo Rapid Onslaught Super Saiyan Blue Son Goku. This card costs 5 energy to play, or you can evolve a active Goku with 3 energy. It gains double strike. This card inflicts, of course, 2 damage instead of 1. And then its auto says when you play this card, you may choose 1 card in your life and place it in the drop area. If you do so, this card gains critical, much like Mighty Attack Son Goku. And that means it goes straight into the drop area instead of their hand for the duration of the turn. So this is a really, really good card. It's essentially a quick way to awaken yourself as well, because when you move life when you take life out of your life, I should say, you're putting yourself closer to awakening, which is always a good thing for most decks. So this is definitely a must in this deck. This is a really, really good card, and a staple in a lot of decks that revolve around things like this. All right, next up, we have 4 copies of Assailant Vegito, which is essentially the same exact card as Mighty Attack Son Goku. It's got a 3 energy cost, and it also has critical 15,000 power. Now, we just have Vegeta in here because this is a Vegito deck, and that requires a Union Potara, and you have to have Vegeta and Goku in order to use certain cards in this deck. So there's the 4 Vegeta. We also play 2 of the Vegeta Prince of Speed. You can either pay the 5 energy to put it straight on the board, or you can evolve it for 4 blue energy, or 2 blue energy and 2 of any other energy. And it also has double strike, and when you play this card, if you have 5 or more energy, you draw 2 cards. So there's a benefit of that as well. It's got 20,000 power, pretty strong. We also have 2 copies of God Charge Vegeta. This is another card, costs 6 to put down directly or 5 to evolve. It has dual attack and critical. That means this card gets to attack twice. So the idea is that you attack, put it into rest mode, figure out if your opponent's going to negate the attack, combo out of the attack, and then it turns back into the active and attacks again. This card also has critical, so you have dual attack critical, pretty strong. And then when this card evolves into a card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with blocker and return it into their hand. So if you evolve and they have blockers in play, you can actually force them to put that card back into their hand so they can't use that blocker. So God Charge Vegeta is pretty good. All right, now this is the first non-Goku and Vegeta card. I like playing the Babidi version of Vegito. So Mind Controlling Babidi says, it's a 6 energy cost card. When you play this card, look up to the top 7 cards from the top of your deck. look up to 7 cards at the top of your deck. Choose up to 2 red battle cards among them with 25,000 power or less, other than Mind Controlling Babidi or any kind of Evil Wizard Babidi card in general, and play them. Then shuffle your deck. So everything in this deck pretty much is going to be red among everything here. All these cards, because of Vegito, because of this, are also red. So I could pretty much pull out any of these cards, plus just about any of the other, actually, yeah. I can pull out any of the other cards that are still here that I haven't shown you guys yet. This can get anything in the deck that has 25,000 power or less, which is pretty much everything. So that's why I like Babidi. I feel like it's a strong card when you pull it off. Next up, we've got this card. It is a 5-drop Ghost Attack Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. This is a very, very, very strong card. It can win games for you easily. Now, we don't have a way to evolve because we don't play any other Gotenks cards, so we got to pay the 5 energy or we get it out with Mind Controlling Babidi. It says here, the permanent, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, this card and all of your ghost tokens gain double strike. Now, ghost tokens are really, really interesting. And it says here, your auto is when you play this card, play 3 ghost tokens. Ghost tokens have 15,000 power. Tokens are something in the game that we're not used to. For people coming over from the Pokemon channel that strictly just play Pokemon, you may not understand what a ghost token is or a token in general, unless you play something like Yu-Gi-Oh! And I personally, coming over to this, had no idea what a token was either, and it took a long time to fully get the explanation for it. Basically, when you play this card, you can put 3, it says play 3 ghost tokens. You can put 3 of anything, doesn't matter what it is. It could be a piece of lint, it could be a piece of trash, it could be a Pokemon card, it could be an empty sleeve, whatever, it doesn't matter. What you're doing is you're getting out 3 things, and they all have 15,000 power. So you're basically putting out 3 fresh attackers with 15,000 power, and if you have 4 or less cards in hand, everything, including Gotenks, all 4 of these have double strike. It can be a game-winning thing for sure. Ghost tokens are very, very strong. All right, another card we have here is Destructive Tear Champa. This is a 6-drop, 25,000 power. We don't have a way to evolve it, but it does have triple strike. So it attacks and does 3 damage to your opponent. When you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, with 15,000 power or less and KO them just by going, there you go. Kill everything with 15,000 or less. Pretty strong. And triple strike is also very strong as well. If your opponent doesn't have a way to combo out or negate that, then chances are they're going to be hurting pretty bad when you're attacking with triple strike. And it's a really good target for Babidi as well. I mean, everything here, like I said, is a target for Babidi thanks to Vegito. Speaking of Vegito, our next card here is a 7-drop. Repeated Force Vegito, or you can Union Potara evolve it for 5. Now that means you have to have a Goku, a Son Goku, and a Vegeta battle card in play. You put this card on top of both of them, and it has triple strike. Does 3 damage instead of 1. And when this card attacks, this card gains 5,000 power for each and every Son Goku and Vegeta in your drop area for the duration of the turn. It already has 25,000. If you have even just like 3 Son Goku or Vegeta in there, it gains 15,000 more power. It can be super overwhelming, almost impossible to combo out of. You're pretty much just gonna have to hope that you have a negate in hand if you're facing something like this once it comes out. It is very strong, and it can be put out with Mind Controlling Babidi because it has 25,000 power, and it is a red card. Now, Vegito doesn't have the 3 typings thanks to this because it's only for Son Goku and Vegeta cards, but it's already red, so Babidi can get this out. Our final card here is one that you can only have a single copy of. You guys probably saw us pull it out of our draft box earlier this week, or actually I should say last week, and that is this 10-drop Ultimate Force Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. Ultimate cards with this ultimate here say that you can only have 1 of them in your deck, only 1 copy. This card, you either pay 10 energy to put it out, or you have to use the Union Potara 5 red energy on top to put this card on top of a Son Goku and Vegeta card. This is the only card that Babidi cannot get out of this deck as far as attackers go, as you can see here. This is a 40,000 power card, but you can evolve it, or Union Potara evolve it, I should say, 5 energy, 5 red energy. It has triple attack, so it attacks 3 times. And each time it attacks, it also has triple strike. So let's just say hypothetically, there was some miraculous way you could get this out on the first turn, which is completely impossible, by the way. But just say you could. You could force your opponent to take all 9 of their life with just this card on 1 turn. It's pretty strong. It's pretty crazy, actually.
Wasn't aware we had 9 life.
We don't. That's the thing. We don't. We only have 8. Thanks for the input back there. We don't have 9. Yeah, that's the whole point, though. You win the game if you can get all 3 attacks to go through. That's the point. That's why this is an ultimate and why you can only have 1 copy of it in the deck. So, it's fun. That's the thing. This deck...
Oh, man, Shu is not scared of that card.
Oh my gosh, whatever.
Shu could easily knock that out.
The point of this deck is it's super fun, and when you can pull off stuff like this, it's even more fun. Again, this deck has not shown any top performances in any tournaments very recently, especially not a build like this. This is kind of my crazy concoction. But when it works, it's fun.
And you can still definitely win tournaments with this.
Yeah, you can definitely win tournaments. Now, just because it hasn't shown up at regionals or something doesn't mean that something like a locals can't be won with a deck like this.
And in general, too, the game's still like too newish for there to be determined metas. I mean, there kind of is, but kind of isn't at the same time.
Yeah. Now, the only thing about this deck is that there's a couple of cards here that are a little bit harder to get for new players, and are maybe one of these is a little bit too expensive for newer players. This card right now is hanging around $70 to $80, and we just happened to pull it, so we got lucky, and I wanted to use it in a deck. You don't have to, but this card right here is actually something that's a little bit harder to get. They're about $15 a piece, and new players don't necessarily have access to them very easily because they're in dash packs, which you only get by purchasing boxes of Union Force.
But the good news is that depending on the shop, it's either boxes or every 12 packs, technically, you get a dash pack.
Okay, well, there's that too, every 12 packs, but you have to buy 12 packs.
Yeah, and also, that particular card, all the dash promos in general are dropping in price.
Yes, they are rapidly dropping in price. You know, for instance, this card was what, like 25, 30 bucks not that long ago?
It was like past 30.
It was past 30. Another card here as well, which we've been talking about amongst ourselves a little bit more, is this card, the Joyful Strike, Goku Black Rose.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that card was like, what, $60, $70, $80?
The foil one? The foil was about 100 at one point.
The foil was 100. Now it's 45. So as the game grows in age, it is starting to get to the point where cards are becoming more available and at less prices because there's more of them out there. So, I mean, the game is definitely changing for the better for new players, but, you know, there's still some money you gotta invest in them, especially things like this. I mean, $15 a piece, you're looking at $60 for this, and if you really, really, really want this, which is not needed, it's not 100% needed at all for this deck, that's another $70 to $80 as well. Otherwise, you can put something else in there for this. But this really does help the deck a lot. So I recommend if you're gonna play Vegito, try to get a hold of these Rapid Onslaught Super Saiyan Blue Son Gokus, because they're very, very good. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this deck profile for Vegito. Probably next week, we're going to be doing a match video with this versus the Androids deck that was profiled last week. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, and we're going to have some fun with that.
Oh, yeah,
definitely. For sure. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe for more content here on the Mafuba Jar, and until next time, we release you.